The KwaZulu-Natal Education Department has established a commission of inquiry to probe racism allegations at Hillcrest High School in Durban. The school has been accused of covering up racism by a group of boys, including incidents involving the school's rugby captain. The Education MEC Mbali Frazer visited the school today to meet with school management representatives and parents. In July, the acting principal of Grosvenor Girls High School was suspended by the Department of Education in the province. The department said it took the decision in line with recommendations made by an independent panel that uncovered racism and financial mismanagement at the school. The probe was launched after pupils at Grosvenor Girls High School staged a protest outside the school against alleged racism in February this year. Nomarashiya Caluza is KwaZulu-Natal Secretary of the South African Democratic Teachers Union, or Sadtu. She joins us now. A very good evening to you, Ms. Caluza, and thank you so much for speaking to us. Perhaps let's first establish what exactly happened with these allegations. When did they emerge?
Thank you and good evening to you and the viewers. In that school in Hillcrest, the challenge or this racism is emerging between learners themselves, and it's something that came out to the public 2 weeks ago, and then the department attended to it today. But it's something that has been there, as you know, that we've all been saying there's racism in schools, and the department has to take these allegations seriously, because it's not the issue of just learners raising it. Even the workers themselves, even some members of the school governing bodies in other schools, but on this one, it's a clear one, because learners were able to speak for themselves when they met the Department of Education.
What exactly do they say is going on, and how long has it been going on?
The learners there, especially, of course, the African learners, they are saying this thing has been going on for quite some time, and in their view, there is favoritism and also the manner in which decisions are taken by the school management team as well as the school governing team. When they take decisions, it becomes clear that if it's a black child or an African child, a particular decision will be taken. But when it's of the other race in the main, learners, white learners, the approach and the posture of the decision makers becomes different, which then shows even to these learners that they are not treated fairly. They are not treated equally at the level, even when on issues of discipline. If it's the child of a learner of another race, a particular decision will be taken based on the race, such that even the sanctions, these learners were saying, one learner was given, in fact, a group of white learners were given 7 days as a sanction for what they would have done as a misconduct. But when it is an African child, that will be made public to everyone, when it is kept a secret when it's the white learner. So our learners and the children there, especially the black ones, they feel the pinch, and unfortunately you find that parents are not taking care and they are not noticing these things, and that is why you are happy when the department is taking these issues seriously. But we are saying it has taken long, because as Sadtu, we've been raising these issues many years ago. It is only now that we are seeing a move, and hope that even here in Hillcrest, these issues will be attended to the best.
Nomarashiya, can I just jump in and ask you to be specific about some of these incidents? You know, I think for the country to get a sense of just how widespread racism is at the school, per the information that you've been given, you talk about disciplinary issues. What kind of ill behavior has existed? When decisions, you say, are taken, it's different, there's discrimination against black students. What type of decisions? Because for us to get a better understanding. When we talk about racism, as we know, unfortunately, the country is divided even in issues of what is called subliminal racism. The fact that there are racial undertones or overtones is important. Can you give us examples?
Yes, for example, the white learners, they have a WhatsApp group. And in this WhatsApp group, that is where they degrade the black children or black learners to the extent that they call them the K words, using the K words. And these black ones got to know about that. When that was reported, the SGB decided to punish these learners, giving them a 7 days suspension. And these learners are alleging that they only served 3 days. But then on another incident where 2 black children or learners were found kissing, they were suspended. It was made public around the school, when it is not the case with this other case that I've spoken about. So learners feel that if it's a black child, the matter is blown out of proportion. It will be made public in the school, and there are many others that they are mentioning, but I'm just highlighting this, which
they
also highlighted in the meeting.
When you and I last spoke about the ongoings at Grosvenor, it was understood that the Education MEC had called for schools and the province in general to be investigated over incidents of racism. I want to understand, is there a wide-scale or blanket probe into whether or not students are treated fairly and equitably at schools, irrespective of their race and the areas that they go to, and also the conduct of not only the principals or the teachers, but the SGBs as well? Is this happening?
It is happening, for example, in this school, because we're saying as such, this racism manifests itself in many ways in schools. Looking at the enrollment of the school is almost 50-50 in terms of the race. I'm just talking about Hillcrest. But if you go to the school governing body, only 1 person is black. You go to the SMT, you don't find any black person, or it will be 1. The Grosvenor school that the department investigated, we're saying it's not only Grosvenor, and that is why, because the former MEC focused on Grosvenor because there were issues. And then the recommendations of the independent panel said, in fact, the recommendations of the MEC was that the Premier must appoint another panel or a commission to just investigate in as many schools as possible. And we are in support of that. You know why? Because I think 4 years ago, we raised an issue, and we know that there were other people who were writing to the former Premier, Mr. Mchunu. There are letters, I do have those copies of letters that were sent to his office, letters that were written to the department years back regarding allegations of racism, not in Hillcrest, but in many other schools. So we're saying the department must just investigate and also open a hotline where people can report, so that those who are investigating can get to know about these issues, and also to ensure that there's a direct line of reporting, because people are scared.
All right, we do appreciate your time and sharing with us what you've learned as Sadtu. That is Nomarashiya Caluza. She is KwaZulu-Natal Secretary of Sadtu, speaking to us about the problem of racism at schools in KwaZulu-Natal, saying that there has been a call by the Education MEC for the Premier himself to institute a much wider probe at all schools, an independent panel of investigators that is going to probe this issue at schools there, and also suggesting that a hotline might help with some incidents like this. We're going